trips to Gqebera are nothing unfamiliar to me. I mean, I frequent this route as my hometown is the good GQ, Gqebera. Now this time, we get to explore and talk to the women of Isuzu and get to understand what drives them. Join me.
Okay, so not to give my age away, I was 29 years old when I started with Isuzu Motors, and I started as an HR practitioner in those days, and in 2008, and I started in 1999, I was offered a position in manufacturing, and I took the opportunity. Right then, I had no experience in health and safety, but I've always liked the manufacturing environment, you know, to be more involved with the amazing vehicle that we produce and make. And I wanted to be part of that manufacturing family and not just be on the outside, but actually be part of the manufacturing of our Isuzu. Being a safety engineer is, I think, for me, the most important thing is caring about people. People come to work and we want to keep them safe. There's some high risk work and we want to make sure people understand and go home safely to their families. And I think safety has, the shift has changed a lot. There hasn't been a great focus on safety in South African law, but that has definitely come a far way. And it's also just caring for people and looking after them, but also getting that safety mindset. We want people to care about themselves. I can't be the one to look after everybody with over 1,000 people on site, but changing the mindset of people, that they should be safe no matter where they are, driving in their vehicles to work, being at home with their children, going on holidays. So safety goes further than just at work. It goes into their personal lives and into the lives of their families.
So Charlaine, you're about to take us through the plant, you know, show us all the different shops, you call them.
Yes, we're going to start at the beginning of the process and then I'll walk you through the different areas so you see that the assembly of the vehicle. So in the body shop where we are now, we are busy manufacturing our RG06, which is our D-Max vehicle. That was launched on the 7th of April. So in the body shop, that is where you get your raw material, your sheet metal, and they put the frame of the vehicle together. We will then go on to the paint shop. The paint shop is where the vehicle gets painted. And once we're done in the paint shop, the vehicle will then proceed into what we call our LCV assembly area. That is where they do the trim and assembly. So that is where the finessing of the vehicle comes from. So the carpets, the seat fitment, your engine fitment, your tires. And at the end of the line, you have got a full Isuzu D-Max vehicle.
Let's get to know the woman behind the brand. Let's get to know the sisterhood that drives them. What makes them tick? How do they keep it together? And how do you grow in the automobile industry? Mandlakazi, you recently moved to PE to become Department Executive for Corporate and Public Affairs, right?
Yes.
How's that journey been? And what has the journey been leading up to this particular position that you're in now?
It's been an interesting journey on a personal level. It was the second time I was relocating from being based in Gauteng with my children. The first relocation was to Cape Town, which is home. Born and bred in Cape Town. At that time, I was taking up a position in Parliament. So it was the second time we were relocating, myself and my children, to another province, another city. And this time, Gqebera, by the way, it's now called Olwethu.
Yes.
And for me, it was a mixed bag. Of course, there's always that anxiety. Let's be honest about that. Often of the unknown. But also for me, I was moving closer to home as well. And the journey was literally by road. When we moved, my kids and I, we discussed, do we fly down? Do we drive down?
Okay.
And we decided it's an experience. Let's make an experience out of it. And also get an opportunity to actually test drive an Isuzu vehicle.
Nice.
We had never driven one before. And luckily for me, my firstborn has a driver's license.
Oh,
so
lucky
he was the
you.
driver.
I can't wait to get to that stage?
I was in the back seat, literally just chilling, and my daughter was responsible for the GPS and also researching where we can stay when we arrive in Gqebera. For me, the journey has been one that has, I think, revealed a lot about us as a family, but myself as a woman as well. We can have it all, but it comes with a lot of hard work and sacrifice. And it also has taught me to be able to ask for help when I need it.
Absolutely.
And this comes in different forms, either be it from your colleagues in the workplace. I have an amazing support structure within Isuzu even. It's amazing when a company shares their vision and mission and you think, oh yes, it's just words. It's amazing experiencing it coming to life.
Yeah.
And the kind of support one was given while transitioning into the new role. For me, that was quite a welcomed experience, even for my family as well. Isuzu is quite a unique brand and culture within it. It's like a family-run business, but it's a multinational business. And it's rare you would find that in an organization. And for me, I think that is the uniqueness around the Isuzu culture. So when you get an Isuzu vehicle, you must know there's a lot of love that comes with it.
And let's talk about a little bit more of that sisterhood and the sisterhood in action beyond corporate borders or beyond the corporate offices and buildings and the brick and mortar. To get to where you are, what impact did sisterhood have? What impact did other women have in your particular career trajectory?
I'll start from a personal level as well. My most recent experience, my firstborn son recently went through initiation in deep rural Eastern Cape, right in my home village, right? And this was happening while I was also having to maintain my 9 to 5 job during the week and traveling to Idujwa, where we're from, over weekends, literally every weekend. It was amazing seeing my uncles and grandfathers' wives coming together and supporting my child and supporting me during this process. So sisterhood begins there for me. It was a humbling experience. And how does that translate into the work environment? Women opened doors for me at a very early stage rather of my career. I remember my first job interview, it was for a receptionist job at Naspers, and I was being interviewed by the editor at the time, and she later became the CEO, by the way. But she called me back after my interview and said to me, I don't think you're ideal for this role, but I've identified a more senior role for you.
Oh, wow.
I will personally be your mentor and I will guide you. So don't be scared. Take on the role if you want it. It's yours.
Wow.
And for me, that was the first time experiencing what female leadership can truly translate to for another woman. Lift as you rise, literally. And it is possible. And sometimes it's a hard journey.
Yeah.
You learn hard lessons along the way. But I've come to treasure each and every lesson because it prepares you for your next role. In my current role, I'm still applying lessons I learned 10, 15 years ago. So treasure each and every experience and enjoy it.
What are some challenges that you think we're still seeing in, let's talk about particularly the motoring sector when it comes to challenges that women face or the biases that women face within the space?
I don't think it's specific to the motoring sector, to be honest with you. In general, I've noticed that there are specific roles that are sort of ring-fenced for women, and there's still a glass ceiling for certain roles in any organization or industry. Secondly, for us to be even still having this discussion in terms of challenges for women, it shouldn't be gender-based.
Yeah.
It should be at an equal footing in terms of generally what challenges are we faced with as individuals in bettering ourselves and our careers within the workspace. There seems to be this notion that when you assert yourself as a woman, it's either you're being emotional or you're being unapproachable. But it's okay for a man to assert themselves in a meeting, and no one is going to flinch or react. So there's a language that we need to understand between the two sexes in a workspace. There could be a line that a male colleague says to another male that's not offensive, but how does it translate from a male to a female? And that's going to take continuous discussions. Let's create spaces, create environments for men and women in the workplace to engage more, to better understand each other. And I think that's where we will find one another going forward.
Human resources is probably the busiest department in an organization. So I had to grab Mampho out as the head of human resources at Isuzu Motors South Africa to just get to understand the real adrenaline rush behind dealing with people on an everyday basis. And is it similar to this adrenaline rush in this big swing? Let's see.
This is gonna be great. This is gonna be great. It's a beautiful day.
So how did you feel walking up and during and after the activity? How was that feeling?
For someone that's in a relatively high-risk job, relatively, because I'm dealing with human real feelings and emotions on a daily basis, I didn't know what to expect. So as I do in my day-to-day, I just winged it. And, it was scary, but I made it. I'm just going to check if my insides are still intact.
Still feel like
after
I'm divided.
Exactly. It was a great experience, though.
Yeah.
It was a great midweek time out.
Nice one.
Yes.
I enjoyed taking you out of the office. I enjoyed taking you out of your natural habitat.
I'm glad. I'm so happy for it.
And getting you to be a little bit adventurous.
And the weather's beautiful and the surroundings are stunning.
Why I wanted us to do this activity, you are a woman in HR.
Yeah.
You are a woman in the industry that they like to call human capital.
Yes.
Always having to deal with people.
Yes.
Their emotions. Yes. The ups and the downs. Yes. And I think naturally there's just a lot of adrenaline in that. There is,
but I think because it doesn't quite climb at physical heights, you think that it's manageable.
But isn't it a similar feeling though?
It is. It is a roller coaster,
that
actually.
gut-wrenching feeling. I think before we went onto the swing, I asked you a question that's commonly asked. What did you discover as a woman in human capital during the last 2 years?
As a woman, I think that what I think was kind of cemented for me is that we are resilient. We are able to make a way where seemingly there's no way. And if there's anything that COVID has taught us is the resilience of the human spirit, if you want to call it that. If I bring it back to the organization that I work for, we tried very hard to do the right things for the employees in a very difficult and challenging economic environment. So you might know that left, right and center all around us, people were losing jobs. People were not getting paid their full salaries. People did not even have an outlook in terms of being paid bonuses in industry and in the value chain. And I think that one of the things that we learned about ourselves as an organization at Isuzu is that we are a people-centered organization. And Mr. Billy Thomas, CEO and President, was very adamant that we will do the right things for the employees and we will not just focus on the bottom line. And you can imagine that the impact in the industry as a whole from a sales perspective and outlook was obviously quite drastic. What we learned is we actually don't need to go to the office to meet. We actually don't have to see each other face to face to actually be productive, be efficient. If I may be so presumptuous to extend that is, if we then think about the element of managing a workforce remotely. Now we're a production environment, right? The teams that are at the core of the operation are the teams that are on the production lines hands-on. Now you couldn't necessarily have those members of the organization not be at work. But it took a whole organizational effort to make sure that from a health and safety perspective, the right things are done. So we manage a safe working distance. Whereas if you were inside the production operation earlier today, so you'd have seen like it's a conveyor belt type of environment. So managing the health and safety aspect of it, managing the wellness that COVID actually obviously has impacted the entire workforce, and just understanding that trust is at the center of any employment relationship.
So we love to talk about the 4 C's, the cooking, the cleaning, the careers, and the caring as women. What about that and about the past few years has taught us, the different languages of resilience when it comes to that as women, and the way we swiftly maneuver through those 4 things, even whilst balancing taking care of the kids, cooking, our careers, because a lot of the women that we found in the manufacturing process surely have families.
Yes, they do.
They have people to take care of.
They do.
And they also have themselves to take care of.
Yep. In terms of those 4 C's, I think that I'll answer from an individual's perspective. I'm a mom of 3, so I have a family, I have a career, and a very demanding one at that. And then, we always say when we leave the office as the ladies, okay, bye guys, I'm going into my second shift, and it's a role that I think from our great-grandmother's times. Yes, of course, in terms of the economic balance, in terms of who brings home the bacon, if you like, that narrative has shifted somewhat, in that women are able to earn their own income and are economically participating. But if you look at how traditionally the role of women evolves without any of those 4 C's necessarily evolving with them. And I also think that you then look at the nature and the identity of the relationship that you are in. What kind of support system do you have? What kind of partnership are you in? Because I think those are the things then that assist you navigate. I mean, I registered for my master's at the age of 40. So I knew then that, this is going to be difficult. But I'd never had to worry about supper. I was at the business school Monday to Sunday. I was in a syndicate group with men who would always tease me. And it was really in jest to say, shouldn't you be cooking lunch or something? It's Sunday, But it also shows you that the narrative and that mindset, it still exists. And it's why I always say, in auto the other day, someone asked me, what is it that I think is still something that the auto industry needs to be working towards? And it's just to balance the boardroom, because we bring so much of that caring and nurturing part of us into the boardroom scenario. And I don't mean about taking notes and making tea, but I think that we bring much needed diversity in thought, in mindset, into the boardroom as well.